Look at a limiting reactant problem out of stoichiometry. And in this one, it says, identify the limiting reactant when 6.25 grams of silver nitrate react with 4.12 grams of sodium chloride to form sodium nitrate and silver chloride. So the first thing we have to do is write the balanced equation. So we're going to have silver nitrate. Remember, when we do double replacement reactions, put them in aqueous solutions, and sodium chloride. And that is going to produce sodium nitrate. And I look up the solubility. Remember, nitrates are always soluble. Plus silver chloride. And looking at the solubility, chlorides are usually soluble, except one of the exceptions is silver. So that will be our solid. So this reaction will occur. Looking at the equation, though, the nice thing is this is already balanced. All my coefficients are 1 on this one. So the next thing I need to do is I need to go ahead and figure out the molar masses. All right? So for my molar mass, since they give me the masses of silver that I'm going to use, 6.25 grams of the silver nitrate solution is what I should say. And they give me the mass of sodium chloride, 4.12 grams of sodium chloride. I'm going to need the molar masses of those. So looking at this, the molar mass of silver nitrate is going to be the mass of the silver, which is 107.87, plus the mass of the nitrogen, 14.01, plus 3 times the mass of oxygen. And that's going to be 169.88 grams, taking it to 2 decimal places. And the molar mass of sodium chloride is going to be equal to, adding up the masses of its components, 58.44 grams. Now I can continue on with the problem. Now in this one, you notice, you have 2, it looks like, knowns and no unknown. What you want to know is which one's the limiting reactant. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick one to start with. Doesn't matter which one. And I'm going to call my other one my unknown. So for me, I'm going to pick, to start with, silver nitrate. And let's see what we get. All right, you could have started with sodium chloride, but I'm just going to start with this silver nitrate. So I'm going to say my known is silver nitrate. 6.25 grams of AgNO3. So that's how much I'm going to use. Now to use up all of my silver nitrate, what I need to do is to find out how much sodium chloride I need. So let's go ahead and convert to grams of sodium chloride and see how many grams of sodium chloride get used if I use all of my 6.25 grams of silver nitrate. So for 1 mole of silver nitrate, remember I got to convert to moles first, there's 169.88 grams of silver nitrate. That converts it to moles of silver nitrate. But what I really want are moles of NaCl, or sodium chloride. So I have my 1 mole of sodium chloride on top. Get rid of my moles of silver nitrate by putting it in the bottom. Now that gives me moles of sodium chloride. But finally, let's go ahead and get grams. So 58.44 grams, that's the molar mass of sodium chloride, are in 1 mole of sodium chloride. And this is equal to, multiply 6.25 times 58.44, divide that by 169.88, and I get 2.15 grams of sodium chloride. Well, let's see here. If I use up all of my silver nitrate, the AgNO3, if I use it all up, all 6.25 grams, I'm only going to need 2.15 grams of sodium chloride. What that tells me is that I have excess sodium chloride. In other words, I have 4.12 grams of sodium chloride minus how much I need if I use up all of my silver nitrate. And this gives me 1.97 grams of excess sodium chloride. So what the question is really asking is, which one's the limiting reactant? Well, the limiting reactant is going to be the one that gets used up and does not have any excess. So the limiting reactant in this case is in fact going to be the silver nitrate. Now I want to point out, if you did this problem a little different way, if you started with the sodium chloride, in other words, you put down 4.12 grams of sodium chloride, what you would have found out by doing this equation over again is that you would have used more than 6.25 grams of silver nitrate. Once again indicating that the silver nitrate was the limiting reactant.